Hi, my name is Marta Klotanovic. The topic that I chose was education. The interview they are going to do is with the principal at Western Middle School. The beginning of the video is going to show the route that the kids take before they arrive to school. We talk several issues with the principal, and it was a great experience to see a different point of view and how they are tackling and how they are working with the kids depending of the area they are staying. It was a great experience. I enjoy it, and thank you. Bye. Okay, this is one of the areas when the kids go to school in Western Middle School. This is the street, 45th Street and B Avenue. Before the kids go to school, they already have several issues: poverty, crime. This area is very high in crime, several deaths. Problems.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and the school?
I'm in my first year as principal here. This is Northwestern Middle School. We have not had a passing grade per the state.
Nelson Mandela, please report to the main office for dismissal.
We haven't had a passing grade per state requirement since 2006. So we are in the process of trying to ensure that we receive at least a C this upcoming school year.
Okay. And where are you coming from? What school do you work with?
I was at Jeb Stewart Middle School prior to becoming principal here at Northwestern.
And do you see a difference between that school and this school?
I do. I think the students over here come to us with a little more issues, external issues, than at Jeb. But I was at Jeb for 3 years. My first 2 years, it was a rebuild, two rebuilding years. We went from receiving the lowest grade in middle schools to moving from an F to a C.
Wow.
So I while there are some comparisons between the two, I think, like I said, I think the students here have a lot more external factors to deal with that sometimes impede their ability to focus on academics once they get here.
And what is the factors that they bring here?
I mean, neighborhood issues, family issues, being able to socially adapt to certain situations and circumstances, not being able to effectively communicate, not having enough, we call them tools in their toolkit to be able to respond to different situations and scenarios. They have limited resources, so sometimes the only resource they have is to act out physically or get confrontational because they haven't been equipped with any other tools to deal with situations in certain scenarios. So just trying to ensure that we rehabilitate in the process of discipline them at the same time. And that becomes a very, very fine line because sometimes you have to implement zero tolerance, but that's not the answer. We have to rehabilitate. We have to equip students with different tools and different ways of coping with things that they experience both in and outside of school in order for them to be successful.
So the school has some policies in place when the kids act out, or they have. Do you see a lot of violence in the school?
We don't. I wouldn't necessarily say we have a lot of violence, but we just have a lot of small fires, and they always have the potential to turn into something great if we don't respond in a timely manner. So we spend a lot of our time looking at social media, talking to kids, building relationships and continuing relationships with kids who have gone to school here before because they still have an inside track to what's going on here currently on school. we meet with kids constantly. We review protocols. We try to get parents involved as much as possible by sending parent links and written communication home about situations and scenarios that are happening here on campus. And we just talk to the kids about the importance of self-advocacy, because they view self-advocacy as snitching and telling on one another, but they are just as entitled to a safe learning environment as the next person. So it's not me telling on that person, it's me advocating for my own education because I'm entitled to it just as that other person is. So it's trying to eliminate some of those things that have been ingrained in their DNA for a very long time. But we have to, as adults, effectively communicate that it can't always be punitive.
Correct.
It can't always be you go home, because they're going to come back the same way they left.
Exactly.
So we essentially don't resolve the issue.
Correct. What is I know that right now they're having a test going on. What do you think about the standardized test? How this affected? I know that last year they received a D, and the year before they received an F, and you stated that it's been 10 years. So what do you think, or how you feel about the standardized test in this environment?
I think standardized tests have their place, but I also, from a personal standpoint, and we always preach this to our kids and our teachers, that the state holds us accountable in that regard. They hold us accountable academically. We, from a personal standpoint, we have to hold ourselves accountable academically and socially and emotionally. We have to develop the whole child. And that standardized test, that's just one component of what we do.
Exactly.
So while that's what we are measured by, and I work in the state of Florida, so that is always our goal, is to ensure that whatever they have placed on us as far as showing that we meet some certain level, we always aspire to do that. Like we're not going against what the state is requiring. That's just the state of Florida. This is where we work. So we're going to try to aspire to achieve that goal. But from a school perspective, we also know that there are other components that we consider and we gauge our own personal success on. And I'm just going to give you one scenario. When you receive a 6th grade student, and based on all the diagnostic assessments, they come in at a 3rd grade level. Yeah. If I get that child to 5th grade by the end of the school year, I've proven some success. Now, they still take a 6th grade assessment, and they may show that they are not proficient as far as their 6th grade assessment is concerned. But I've taken a child who came to me as on a 3rd grade level, and I've moved him to a 5th grade level.
Yes.
That's a win in our book. Now, from a state perspective, it's not, but that's those other components that we as a school have to take into consideration. Yeah, we didn't reach our overarching goal, but that child is not the same child that he was or she was when they came to us. We've grown that child, so we have to celebrate that process as well.
Correct. I know that you're going to receive 2 point, that the school is moving to be a
computer science academy,
and they're going to receive a $2 million grant.
$2 million grant, yep.
This is going to be one of the hub areas the students are going to come here. How do you think that is going to affect? And do you think they will have a positive impact to the kids, or the school is going to be? What is your opinion about that?
I think it's going to be beneficial because what it's going to do is it's going to take the curriculum that we already have and find out a way to implement computative thinking and science technology into what we already do. And it's hands-on. And that's what we've learned about students just in general. When they can touch it and it's tangible to them, they're more likely to retain the information. So I think it's going to be beneficial. I think also too, while the overall goal is for all of our students to go to college, we know that that's not the reality. So what are we doing between now and then to equip them with other options? Because we know that, you know, if you aren't successful in high school and you drop out of high school, you know, chances are you're going to do something that it's not going to be productive.
Correct.
So what are we doing to ensure that you have options? And that's what we talked about when we talk about the toolbox. You know, if you're limited in your options, then you're going to do what you know how to do. So it's also creating situations and scenarios to where we expose them to certain industries like STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, where, you know, we have guest speakers come in. They talk about, you know, the fields that they're in, and, you know, the experiences that they've had. So it gives our kids an opportunity to see people who are being productive in these fields, and now it becomes real to them. So now when I leave here, now I'm really starting to look at where I'm going to go to high school, because I want to continue the foundation that has been laid for me with our Computer Science Academy. So I think it's going to be beneficial, because it's going to expose students to things that they haven't been exposed to, and opportunities that they didn't necessarily know that they had. So again, it's just us adding tools to their toolbox. That way, when they get in a situation and scenario, they realize that they have more options than they think they do.
Oh, great. I think it's something fantastic. You know, is they going to get certified on some level?
And yeah, and that's what we're talking about right now, implementing some industry certification courses. But we have to be mindful that, you know, typically those certifications expire in 1 or 2 years. So we have to ensure that we partner with other schools who have science academies and things of that nature, and try to make it a continuation to where maybe they get some foundational courses here, and then when they decide to pick a high school, they get those industry certifications closer to graduation. That way they can actually put them to use when they need them.
So what do you think about the voucher program, and that is going to affect for people?
You mean like the voucher?
Yes.
You know,
the magnet schools.
I really don't. I honestly, I don't have an opinion about it, because I think, you know, as a parent, you're not going to tell me what to do with my kids.
Correct.
So I can't tell you what to do with your kids. What I can do is show you how it will be, how Northwestern would be beneficial for you. And you as a parent have to make that decision of if this is going to work or if it's not going to work. So I really don't have an opinion about it, because at the end of the day, I'm responsible for servicing the kids who come in this building.
Correct. Great.
If it's 700, if it's 300, if it's 200, if it's 100, these are the children that I'm responsible for, the ones that are here. So I can't get caught up in who's not coming.
Exactly.
I have to focus on who's here, because they require all the attention that we have.
So how many students they have here right now?
A little less than 600.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you so much.
Not a problem.
It was a pleasure.